The trade war is on between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Today we discuss. Only 2 weeks since Donald Trump took took office as the 47th president of the United States, and let's say it's been a heck of a ride, and it's only been 2 weeks, so I cannot wait to see what is going to happen on the next 4 years. And one of the things that was poised to happen is actually a trade war between the US and its neighbors, Canada and Mexico. And Trump likes to use a lot tariffs in order to, create leverage against other economies that are, let's say, not cooperating with US interests, at least US interests during the Trump administration. And of course, he delivered his promise. Trump actually threatened to slap tariffs against both Mexico and Canada if they don't cooperate on certain issues like border control, trade agreements, and security, migration, and things of that nature. That happened only on Saturday. I mean, every day is very, very active regarding the Trump administration. I have no issue with that. So usually I remember just before this administration, I used to just talk on the weekends about dating, offshore dating, things like that. Now I can talk politics because, it's cool, even on weekends. I'm not complaining, but still I'm going to do a couple of dating videos for the weekend and on Twitter and so on. But anyways, continue with the video. The main issue right now is that Trump has a bunch of concerns. His main concern regarding the US, America First and that kind of thing, and his political platform is migration, the border control, things like that. And his main promise, and of course, that's his mandate, and he's going to execute. So, very cool on that. Now, the issue with the tariffs is that he uses this particular, commercial trade war strategy in order to, create, coercion against the country that he's dealing with. So he started 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, 10% tariffs on China. Yeah, that's for another day. We're not discuss China today. And he's thinking about slapping tariffs to the European Union. Basically, his commercial partners, allies, well, except for China, still China, not necessarily a political ally, but a commercial partner. So on Saturday, of course, the governments of both Mexico and Canada, they were not particularly pleased for this decision, and first they threatened to slap some tariffs on the US from themselves. Mexico is going to escalate, it's going to have a range between 5 to 20%, depending on the product, and Canada is going to put at equal 25% of tariffs. And Trump himself said that if Canada does so, he's going to increase the tariffs to 50%. The issue is that the leverage that Mexico and Canada have compared to the US is not as much. Both economies are hovering around $2 trillion each one. Mexico, of course, a little bit less, Canada a little bit more. And meanwhile, the United States is close to the 30 trillion US dollars on GDP. So, that's is by far the biggest economy in the world. So the leverage is not there. But anyways, just on this Monday, both countries, they just yield with the Trump's proposal. First, the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, she mentioned that she is gonna, play ball. She is gonna take care of business on the border. She is gonna put 10,000 troops of soldiers in order to, guard the border for migration and also for drug drug cartels and things like that. And also is going to cooperate regarding the drug operations and seas and things like that in order, since Trump is focusing a lot on the drug cartels and the drug violence and things like that. Now, the US also said that it's going to cooperate, trying to not send weapons and supplies to the drug cartels in South. So I'm not gonna, go through that rabbit hole. Anyways, the funny thing though is Canada. Canada took a little bit longer to, yield to Trump. Still, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, mentioned that he's gonna do the same. He is gonna help. He's gonna cooperate with the U.S. regarding border control. Of course, we discussed previously that Canada doesn't have this particular thing where with a lot of migration, but things happen on borders, of course. And not only is going to put extra, he's going to spend a little bit over $1 billion regarding border security, more personnel, and also equipment for the border. And also mentioned that he's going to spend an extra 200 billion US dollars regarding, intelligence for things like drug dealing and things like that. And also mentioned that he is going to appoint a quote unquote fentanyl czar of his own, of his government, in order to monitor how the drug, this thing with the drug smuggling, the fentanyl that is a very big health concern in the United States. Many people are dying in the US with this particular new drug. And well, Canada is going to help with that. Of course, Mexico is going to do the same. In return, the United States, especially with Trump, that is going to freeze this particular mandate of tariffs for 1 month. So let's see what happens. Now, I'm going to give my particular thoughts on tariffs. And if you have been following my content, this is not, of course, this is not my first YouTube channel. And I created content in different languages and different platforms throughout the years. And I discussed this a couple of times about tariffs and economics, things like that. Regarding economics, I like, free market economy, that I don't like, taxes and things like that. But on this particular issue, so I always been very, a critic of Trump regarding using tariffs because I don't like tariffs. And also that inflates the prices and things like that. So that destroys economic value on the long run. Now, having said that, regarding Trump's strategy of tariffs, this is something that I'm getting, I'm softening on the idea that you can use it not on economic terms, because I don't like tariffs on economic terms. Most of the time, when tariffs, I'm talking worldwide, are being applied, usually is in order to protect some national industries that are lackluster, so that hurts the average consumer at any given economy and destroys value to society overall. And the only people profiting from the tariffs are the, lackluster empresarios within a particular economy. Having said that, I'm not seeing that with Trump. It's not like Trump is putting the tariffs in order to benefit a handful of crony capitalistic empresarios. No. He's using them for national security purposes and other things that, of course, are just as important as economics within the US, like national security and American interests overall worldwide. So now is this particular discussion between the people hardcore voters of Donald Trump regarding that if it's going to generate inflation or not and buying American products. And on the particular case of the United States, that might happen because most of the, let's say, consumer goods are produced outside of the US, especially in Mexico and China. And the thing is that the American-made products are more expensive, just for economics of scale and, how this thing works. I'm not going to explain a little further. However, remember, Trump has a mandate, and the average voter of Donald Trump, he wants to pay a little bit more on the groceries in order to have, national security and interest and things like that. Trump never fooled anybody on this regard. he's always been sincere on his plans of using tariffs and things like that. So, on that regard, I'm cool. Now, with this particular, weird trade war between the US, Mexico, and Canada, the other thing that can hinder, other thing that can suffer and be a casualty is nearshoring. That, I'm going to put this meme here that I found very funny. And we discussed several times nearshoring. And in case you don't know, it's this particular process of offshoring something in order to get, for a better price or for a better return or more efficiency or whatever, but doing it close to home. So many times the US, of course, imports more goods and services compared to their exports, and usually come from very remote places like China, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, places like that. Now, this strategy of nearshoring is since the supply chain issues with COVID, you can substitute offshoring products from from very remote places in case something like COVID happens again, and you can have your supply from a close neighbor, trusted place like Mexico and Canada. But right now, with this trade war, the future of nearshoring, how it's gonna be? Well, I don't think. By the way, I don't think it's gonna disappear. Nearshoring. We discussed on a previous video that the nearshoring, Mexico is basically the biggest exporter to the United States, surpassing Canada just a couple of years ago. And right now, I don't think it's gonna suffer. On that particular ranking, because I don't think China is gonna surpass Mexico again, or Canada, or the European Union, or another country in Latin America, whatever may be the case. But let's say things are not gonna be as smoothly. Now, if you are a big nearshoring bull, and I will say hold your horses, things are gonna happen. Yeah, a bunch of frictions if you are on this particular business. Yeah, things are gonna happen. And if you are saying, this is over, America is gonna isolate themselves, yeah, that's also not gonna happen. A couple of interesting, let's say, outcomes we're gonna see regarding trade and economics on the US on, let's say, a couple of years to come.
Thank you for watching Continental Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. And if you want to work with us, continentalinsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.